You know that feeling, right? When you've studied English, you know the grammar, the words. But then a native speaker starts talking, normal speed, and it's just whoosh, like a blur, almost like a totally different language. Or they're aiming for some kind of speed record.
Oh, absolutely. That's a super common experience. And honestly, it's not because native speakers are, trying to be difficult, as our sources show. It's really just, it's how natural English flows. It's efficient. It's fast. And it sounds really different from slow, careful textbook English.
Right. The textbook stuff is so deliberate. Each word separate. Real life just isn't like that. So this deep dive, it's all about tackling that exact challenge. We've gone through a whole bunch of material research, notes, articles, and, our mission here is to pull out the key insights and the practical steps, the stuff you can do to actually understand that fast, natural English better.
Mm-hmm. We're going to look at why it sounds so quick, and then, really importantly, give you some concrete methods from the sources, ways to train your ear, train your brain to keep up.
Okay, great. So let's jump right into the why then. Why does it sound so fast? The sources point to a few key things happening in natural speech that maybe your brain isn't quite tuned into yet.
Well, the biggest reason is probably that native speakers connect words. We just don't pause between every single word. I mean, think about how you speak your own native language quickly. You probably link words too, right?
Yeah.
It helps the conversation flow.
Yeah, definitely. So instead of like, what are you doing? It comes out as,
doing.
Right. Or I'm going to just becomes,
I'm gonna.
And these aren't mistakes or lazy speaking.
Not at all. It's just how the language naturally sounds when spoken at a normal conversational pace. And, that leads us straight into this idea of connected speech.
Connected speech, okay.
Yeah, it's where words, they blend. Sounds might disappear.
Like the T in want to, it just vanishes.
Mm-hmm. So, do you want to eat? Becomes.
Do you want to eat?
Exactly. Or, could you help me out? Might sound more like.
Could you help me out?
Yeah. And what's really interesting, sometimes new sounds can even pop up where words join together. So your brain, which might be listening for each word separately, kind of gets thrown off by these blended sounds.
Okay, so the insight is you're not hearing separate words a lot of the time. You're hearing these streams of sound.
Precisely. Streams where the word boundaries get kind of fuzzy. And working right alongside that connected speech thing, you've got stress and intonation.
Stress and intonation, like putting emphasis on certain words.
Exactly. Native speakers naturally make the important words louder or longer or change the pitch.
And I guess in fast speech, catching those stressed words is even more critical because maybe you miss the little unstressed ones.
That's a huge part of it. Think about the classic example. I didn't say he stole the money.
Okay.
If you stress, I didn't say he stole the money, the meaning changes. It wasn't me who said it.
Right. Or stress, he didn't steal it.
Exactly. Or he didn't stole it. Maybe he just borrowed it.
So the meaning isn't just the words themselves. It's the music of the sentence, the rhythm, the emphasis.
Mm-hmm. And when someone's talking fast, those stressed words are often your quickest route to getting the main idea.
Okay, that makes sense. So how do we actually train ourselves, train our ears to pick up these connected sounds, the rhythm, the stress, when it's all coming at us so fast?
Right down to. Well, the sources offer several really practical, powerful methods.
Tools we can actually use. Good. What's first?
One technique that pops up again and again is shadowing.
Shadowing. Okay, what's that involve?
It's basically like being an echo, mimicking. You take a short clip, audio or video, movie scene, YouTube, whatever, native speakers talking. First, just listen. No subtitles. Try to get the main idea, the gist.
Just get the general feel.
Yeah. Then listen again, and maybe this time with subtitles or a transcript. See how the sounds map onto the words on the page.
Okay.
Then comes the key part. Play one sentence or even just a short phrase. Pause it. And immediately you repeat it out loud. Try to copy everything, the speed, the rhythm, the ups and downs, even the emotion if you can.
So I'm literally trying to sound exactly like the speaker right after this.
Exactly. Like their shadow. You're training your mouth and your brain at the same time. Yeah. It helps you physically feel how words connect and shrink, and it gets your brain used to processing that faster speed. The sources really highlight this. Reading English uses different pathways in the brain than listening. Shadowing connects the listening and speaking pathways for speed.
Ah, I see. You're not just passively hearing it. You're actively making the fast sounds yourself.
Mm-hmm, that's the idea. And doing this naturally makes you notice all those common contractions and phrases.
Which you hear all the time in real fast conversations.
Absolutely. Things like,
I want to go instead of I want to go. Or should have told you for should have told you.
Perfect examples. Your ear just needs repeated exposure to gonna, wanna, shoulda, coulda, woulda, have to, all of them. The more you hear them through shadowing or just lots of listening, the quicker you recognize them. It's about recognizing the sound pattern.
Okay. Recognizing patterns. That links to another exercise mentioned, right? The 1 minute rewind.
Yes. The 1 minute rewinds. This one's about really intense focus, but just for short burst. Find a clip, video, or audio about a minute long. Listen once, no text. Get the main point. Then rewind and pick just one sentence from that whole minute.
Just one single sentence. Yep.
One sentence. Listen to it over and over. Pause it. Say it aloud yourself, trying to copy the speaker exactly. Listen again. The power here is the deep dive into a tiny piece of speech. The sources say even doing this for just 1 minute a day, focusing intensely like that, adds up to a big difference over time.
So it's like quality over quantity, really dissecting a small bit of fast speech.
You got it. And for zeroing in on those really small, often missed words, the ones that get squished or connected, dictation practice is fantastic.
Dictation?
Yeah.
Like writing down what I hear.
Exactly that. Take a short audio clip, maybe just 1 or 2 sentences. Listen really carefully. Write down word for word what you think you hear. Then listen again, try to fill in any gaps. Do that a couple of times, then check your version against the actual transcript.
So it forces you to really strain to hear every little sound.
It does. It trains your ear to catch things you might otherwise ignore, like that tiny sound in shoulda that actually stands for have. Plus, it helps with concentration, memory for spoken English, even spelling. It makes you super aware of how those little function words change or almost disappear in fast talk.
That's interesting. And that seems to lead into a really core idea about how native speakers actually process language. Chunking.
Yes, chunking. This is so important. Native speakers, we don't really listen word by single word. Our brains automatically group words into meaningful phrases or chunks. Think about how are you or do you want to go? We don't usually process those as 3, 4, 5 separate items. They come across more like single sound units. How are you? Do you want to go?
Okay, so the big insight there is stop trying to catch every single word individually. Start listening for these common phrases, these chunks, as if they're one thing.
That's the goal. Your brain works way more efficiently that way. When you hear that sound, do want to go, you instantly get the idea of do you want to go without needing to mentally check off do you want to go. So practicing listening for these chunks and even repeating them yourself is really key.
Right. And building on that, getting the overall meaning fast. There was another method mentioned, the listen and imagine method. That sounds interesting.
It's very powerful, yeah. The idea is instead of getting bogged down analyzing the sounds or the grammar as you listen, you actively try to create a mental picture, like a little movie in your head of what's being described.
Oh, okay. So if someone says, we grabbed some coffee and headed downtown, I shouldn't be thinking grabbed, past tense, head, gerund.
No.
I should just picture it. Friends getting coffee, walking in the city.
Exactly. That's much closer to how native speakers understand each other in real time. We follow the story, the action, the feeling by visualizing. The Force gives a slightly longer example, something like, she ran out of the house, jumped into the car, and drove off without saying a word.
Yeah, okay, I can see that scene. Running, jumping in the car, driving away fast.
Right. And you probably didn't need to consciously register every single grammatical word like of, the, into, a to get that picture. You see the main actions. The insight is that successful listening is often about constructing that meaning, that mental movie, not just decoding, sounds perfectly. And this ties really closely into needing patience and having the right mindset.
Which is huge, right? Because it's so easy to get frustrated when you just don't understand.
Oh, definitely. And you will miss things. That's totally normal. Even native speakers miss stuff sometimes. If it's noisy or someone speaks unclearly or super fast. The sources really emphasize that understanding fast speech, it takes time. It takes consistent practice. So the mindset shift is don't aim for perfection right away. Aim for progress. Think of it like exercise.
Training your listening muscles.
Exactly. You're training your listening muscles every time you practice, even just for a few minutes, you're making them stronger. And, celebrate the small wins. Like when you catch a phrase you usually miss or you understand the main point, even if some words flew by.
Yeah, that makes sense. Progress builds confidence.
It really does.
Yeah.
And part of that training, part of that mindset involves active listening.
Okay, active listening. How is that different from just hearing in this context?
Well, active listening means you're not just letting the sounds kind of wash over you. You're consciously trying to understand. You're focusing on the meaning, maybe the speaker's feelings, the important bits. You're listening for those stressed words we talked about. You're noticing their tone of voice, their emotion.
Okay. So if someone says, like, I really don't want to go that heavy stress on really, that tells you a lot about how they feel, even if the rest of the sentence was a bit blurry and fast.
Precisely. Their voice, the tone, the emotion, they carry so much meaning. They're huge clues. So practice noticing that. How does a speaker's voice change? Are they excited, annoyed, joking?
And that connects to another point, doesn't it? Background knowledge, knowing about the topic already.
Context is your absolute best friend when listening to fast speech. If you're listening to people talk about, say, a sport you follow closely or cooking or a hobby you have, your brain already has all that vocabulary and related concepts kind of warmed up and ready. It helps you predict what they might say next and helps you fill in the blanks if you miss a word or two.
So listening to things you're actually interested in and know something about is a good strategy. Gives you a leg up.
Absolutely. It uses what you already know to help you process the language faster.
Yeah.
It just reinforces that idea that you're listening for the message, the meaning, the context, not just isolated sounds.
Okay. Now, going back to the sounds for a sec. Does working on my own pronunciation actually help me understand others better?
It definitely can, yeah. When you learn how native speakers typically connect sounds, like what'd-ya for what do you, or did-ya for did you, and you practice actually saying them that way yourself. It trains your mouth, sure, but it also trains your ear at the same time.
Because you're making the sounds you need to be able to hear and recognize.
Exactly. You become familiar with what fast connected speech actually sounds like up close. Makes it less surprising when you hear it. I mean, practicing saying gonna and wanna is probably more useful for understanding fast speech than always carefully saying going to and want to.
Which brings us back to that quick practice technique, the echo method. Sounds similar to shadowing, but maybe faster.
Yeah, it's like a super quick version. It's great for practicing that rapid production. You hear a short phrase or sentence from a native speaker, hit pause, and then instantly, like an echo, you repeat it back as fast as you can. You're really trying to match their speed, their energy, the feel of it.
Like if they say, that's incredible. Oh, I just immediately fire back. That's incredible. Fast.
Like it forces your brain and your tongue to sync up at speed. It directly helps both producing and processing faster speech. Even just doing it in short bursts is really helpful.
Okay. Lots of tools. But English isn't just one thing, is it? We ought to talk about accents, different accents.
Oh, absolutely crucial point. English in the U.S. sounds different from the U.K., sounds different from Australia, New Zealand, Canada. And then you have all the regional accents within those places too. Your goal isn't to master just one single accent.
Right. The idea is you need your brain to be flexible, adaptable.
Exactly. Flexible is the perfect word. And the solution, according to the sources, is pretty straightforward. Exposure. Listen to as many different accents as you can. Actively seek them out. Watch videos, listen to podcasts, music, interviews from various English-speaking parts of the world. The more variety you expose your ears to, the better your brain gets at handling variations in pronunciation and rhythm.
And that's where things like movies and TV shows really come in handy, right? Because they offer that variety naturally.
They are fantastic resources for exactly that reason. And for hearing authentic, fast, conversational English, the sources suggest watching short scenes. Maybe first with English subtitles, just to make sure you understand what's happening. Then, watch that same scene again, but without the subtitles. Really focus on just listening. Try to catch the rhythm, the connected speech.
And pausing to repeat lines is good here too.
Definitely. If you hear a cool phrase or a way of connecting words you want to remember, pause, repeat it, maybe even write it down.
Jotting down useful phrases, like we've got to becomes we gotta, things like that.
Mm-hmm. It builds your internal library of how real spoken English sounds and works.
And what about music? Can listening to songs help? Seems more relaxed.
Music is a brilliant tool. And yeah, definitely more fun for many people. It's perfect for absorbing the natural rhythm, the flow, the stress patterns of English. Pick songs you actually like. Listen first without looking at the lyrics. Just feel the sounds, the beat. Then listen again while reading the lyrics. See how the sounds you heard connect to the written words.
And singing along, does that help?
Oh, absolutely. Singing along is like a form of shadowing. It helps you internalize those rhythms, the connected speech. And songs are just packed with natural contractions and phrases. Think of almost any pop song. I'm gonna, don't wanna. Yeah. Plus, music connects with emotion, which often helps things stick in your memory better.
Wow. Okay. So many different angles, so many techniques. How do we make sure we're actually using them effectively, not just spinning our wheels?
Right. That comes down to what the sources call listening smarter. It's not just about the number of hours you put in. It's about being intentional with your practice.
Intentional listening, what does that actually look like in practice?
Well, it means choosing material that's kind of at the right level for you. You want it to be a little challenging, so you're stretching yourself, but not so overwhelmingly difficult that you just get completely lost and give up. Finding that just right zone. And it means setting small, manageable, regular goals.
Okay, so instead of thinking, right, I need to understand everything perfectly by next month, it's more like, okay, today I'm going to do 10 minutes of focused shadowing, or I'll do the 1-minute rewind on this clip.
Exactly like that. Small, consistent effort. 5 or 10 minutes of really focused practice using one of these methods daily or several times a week.
Yeah.
That's way more effective in the long run than trying to cram in a 2-hour listening session once in a blue moon. Small, steady steps build real, lasting skill.
Okay, wow. So let's try and wrap this up. The big picture seems to be understanding fast native English isn't really about having some kind of super fast brain. It's a skill, a specific learnable skill. And it's about training your ear differently, listening for connected sounds, for rhythm, for those meaningful chunks, rather than desperately trying to catch and translate every single word as it flies by.
That's a perfect summary. It's absolutely a skill you can develop with the right kind of practice and focus.
And the sources we looked at, they've given us a whole toolbox of methods: shadowing, the rewind, dictation, imagining, chunking, using music and movies. Lots to work with. So the key thing now for you listening is to actually take action. Look back at these methods we discussed. Pick one, maybe two, that sound interesting or doable for you, and just start. Start practicing consistently, even if it's just for 5 or 10 minutes a day. Remember, every little bit of progress adds up and builds confidence.
Mm-hmm. And maybe a final thought to leave you with, building on everything we've discussed. Consider this. When you start shifting your focus away from the kind of stressful effort of decoding every single tiny sound, and more towards just grasping the overall message, the story, the rhythm, the emotion behind the words, think about how that shift might fundamentally change not just your understanding, but your whole connection to the English language and, well, to the people who speak it.